Everybody, welcome back. And channel members, David, Dawn, Will, Ivan, Rob, Sergio, Jerry, Diane, Mary, Donald, Logan, Mark, Mad, Scott, Arturo, Kevin, Gary, B. Welcome, everybody. And then subscribers like Erdy, Larry, Ted, Lori, another Ted, Nina, S. Kohler, Cosmic, Piet, Robert, Catherine, Jim, T-Roy. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Yeah. Booked out a nice chunk of profit on K-Info. But before we get to that, if you've been following the markets lately, you know we've been on a tear since the April drop, Liberation Day, Tariff Day, whatever you want to call it. But what if I told you one of Wall Street's most respected voices stood up and said, basically yelled fire in a crowded theater? I'm talking about Michael Harnett, the trading desk guru from Bank of America, and he published out something that, well, he basically said all of the bank's sell signals have been triggered. Well, not might be triggered, but, and he also didn't say they're close to being triggered. He said they have been triggered, the sell signals. He's just waiting for a couple final pieces. Now, before you panic and sell everything, be careful, all right? It's your money. You got to be careful. You got to pay attention. Now, Harnett, if you don't know who he is, well, he's not just some random guy. He's the chief investment strategist for Bank of America, and he's kind of the chief fortune teller for the bank, one of the biggest banks in the country, on the trading desk. He keeps track of fund flows, institutional positioning, sentiment indicators, proprietary trading models, and they have been refining all this stuff for decades. And you can think of Harnett as the guy who has a finger on the pulse of what's happening in the markets, but not just the market. He has a finger in smart money. He's got, institutional investors, hedge funds, pension funds, and what they're actually doing with billions of dollars. And when he puts out a report, I tend to pay attention, actually. So, big players adjust portfolios, and he's got the inside scoop on it. Now, for the past several weeks, Hartnett has been, like that friend that keeps checking the weather and talks about the storm clouds. He's been cautioning on various sell signals, getting close to being triggered, not quite there. But guess what? Now, the warning signs are going off like crazy. So here's what makes this particular thing interesting, potentially scary for you if you're not really paying attention. Now, these are quantitative, data-driven signals based on actual market behavior, historical patterns that have been known to be more right than wrong in the past. So first up is what they call the fund manager cash level signal. The picture this, you're at a casino, you notice that all the high rollers who usually keep some chips in their pockets just in case, now are all in. They have everything on the table. That's essentially what's happened right now in the market. Professional fund managers, the people who manage billions of dollars for pension funds, endowments, institutional investors, have now dropped their cash levels to just 3.9%. Now, that might not sound dramatic, but it's down from 4.2% just a few weeks ago. And in the world of institutional investing, that's like going from keeping a reasonable emergency fund to maxing out your credit card to buy more stocks. And why is this a sell signal? Because historically, when professionals get aggressive and hold small amounts of cash, it kind of has marked the top in the past. All right. Now, the second signal out there is even more straightforward. Hartnett has identified when the S&P 500 rises above 6,300 points, it triggers a sell signal based on their proprietary models. As of the time of publishing the report he published this weekend, we were about 0.3% away from that level. That's like being one small step away from stepping off the cliff. Now, this isn't some sort of arbitrary number he pulled out of his rear. This level is based on historical analysis for market valuations, momentum patterns, and what they call the technical resistance levels. Okay. Time to take a breather. Now, the third one. What they call the sell side indicator. This one is particularly fascinating because it measures something most people never even think about, and that's how optimistic Wall Street analysts actually are. Right now, this indicator is sitting at 57%, just 1 percentage point away from the sell signal at 58%. Here's why this matters. See, Wall Street's analysts are generally pretty optimistic people, and they tend to follow the crowd because it doesn't pay to be the odd man out. So usually, if the consensus is bullish, then almost all the analysts are bullish. Because if you're bearish and the stock moves bullish, well, you lose your job. So it's better to be with the crowd, and, oh, the crowd was wrong, than it is to be the odd man out. Now, when these professionals get a little too optimistic, it historically has been a contrarian indicator. It's like when your most pessimistic friend actually starts talking about how great it is, and you know that something's about to go wrong in their life, right? Now, the fourth signal is global money flows, essentially tracking how much money is flowing into and out of stocks and bonds worldwide. Right now, these flows are running extremely hot, as we've all been able to tell. Massive amounts of money pouring into risk assets, Bitcoin at all-time highs, gold still grinding the high, silver breaking out. I mean, you know, it's like watching everybody run toward the same exit door at the same time. Sure, they might make it all out safely, but it's also likely somebody gets trampled or hurt on the way out. Now, you might think, okay, cool, this is a bank. You know, so what? The market's been defying gravity for years, and, you know, maybe this can keep going. But John Maynard Keynes once said, you know, things can say, the market can remain irrational way longer than you can remain solvent. So here's what makes Hartnett's warnings particularly noteworthy, though. These aren't just random technical indicators. These are signals that have successfully predicted major market corrections many times in the past. We're talking about the kind of signals that flashed before the dot-com crash, the 2008 crisis, and other significant smaller corrections. Now, the scary part is that Hartnett's latest report said basically all of their trading rules, their proprietary trading rules for the bank, are now at sell signals. This isn't just one indicator acting up. This is like having a ton of, it's like the smoke detector in all parts of your house going off at the same time. There's probably something up, right? Now, what's particularly interesting, hopefully you have more than one smoke detector. Now, what's particularly interesting is the context in which this is happening. We're not, you know, in some obvious crisis situation. The economy's still looking pretty fair, right? But the economy's not the stock market. We're at all-time highs. So these indicators are made to protect the bank. Think about that. They're trying to be conservative. So Hartnett isn't just warning about normal market correction. He's specifically talking about bubble risk. He's using some pretty strong language in his latest report. He's warned that we're facing a bubble burst scenario for the S&P 500. Maybe somebody else you've heard might talk about something like that in the past. Now, this could be a pretty big downturn, right? He specifically referred to unprecedented complacency in large traders managing large financial accounts. Unprecedented complacency. I'm just, you know, don't be on the wrong side of this, all right? It's not being wrong. Like, have a plan, have an exit plan for you personally. It's not being wrong that costs you big money. It's staying wrong in the face of a bigger potential downtrend. I'm not saying that any of this is going to blow out tomorrow, but we're at the edge of the cliff, all right? Like, what's the straw that breaks the camel's back? Now, be careful, all right? Time to be careful. Now, he could be wrong. Been wrong in the past, he could be wrong. So please be careful. Don't get into FOMO. Have a plan and be ready for what comes next in the market. All right, everybody? All right. Looking at K-Info. Dun, 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 dun. This is all time. Now up to $20,000. Took a big step up. Right there. We booked out Rocket Lab shares. $10,000 profit, all the options, add another dollar to the gravy train. Beautiful. Right there. Morning, everybody. Glad you're here with me. And somebody can read Erdy's question. That'd be cool too. He's asking kind of the group a question. So there you go. We'll talk about Tesla later in the week. That's a typical morning update, Lee. We usually go through the Mag 7 stuff. So just in case anybody's not been here, this is part of my $50,000 challenge to build an account that generates $50,000 a month reliably in income. Now, I guess the final end goal, the beautiful like potential end goal, I was talking to Goose and Sledge over the weekend. The beautiful thing would be if this turns into a dividend portfolio that just generates $50,000 a month. That would be kind of like game over. I don't have to do anything. No matter what I do, making $50,000 a month. That would be a beautiful final end game. It's going to take me probably longer than the 5-year time frame to get there. Now, through trading, it's been a pretty good slog, right? We've been on this grind, but then we took a leg up. Nice. I actually, last week, I've got this all lined out on a plan, like what I expect to make a week, what I expect to make a month to get to my goal. And I keep track of it every week, every month, I keep myself on that path. I've got it laid out in a spreadsheet. I fill in the numbers each week, my above plan, a behind plan, how much. Now, last week, I added a month's worth of profit on my plan to this portfolio when I booked this out. That was pretty darn sweet. It was a good week. Do I expect it to continue? No, I'll probably have some underperformance, but this does give me a cushion from the plan to where we are right now. What do I still have open? I've still got DocU. I got shares of DocU. I've got puts on DJT. I've got puts on Chewy. And we're rocking and rolling. Rocking and rolling. I've got AA. So I don't have any Rocket Lab. In fact, I'm going to have to find a new investment for this because that cash is going to be sitting in my account today. About $24,000 worth. Beautiful. I like it. If you want to follow along, channel members, I try to post the open trades. I can't give you trade alerts as part of the deal. I have all the trades get automatically posted to KInfo after they're closed right there. So if you just want to see what's closed, what I did do, they all get posted on here and they're all verified by KInfo, downloaded from my account automatically. I don't hide a single thing. If you look at all time and we look at the profit, it ran negative for a little while. I opened this account back in the 2018, 2019, in the COVID times. I was just kind of playing around with this account. Left it for dead for a long time. Didn't do anything with it. Just left it sitting there, holding a few positions they gave me. Some meme stock stuff. And it's like when you open an account and you refer a friend, they give you a few shares of this, that, and the other. I've still got some of that stuff. If you actually look at the positions, there's some junk in there. There's some Mara shares I bought for like $10 or $11. I just left it sitting there. I didn't really care for the platform. But why am I using it now? Well, I'm pushing up to 30 contracts a week. I get 7 here on Rocket Lab, got 12 here on DJT. And when you're pushing 30 contracts a week, that's a significant amount of commissions. Robinhood charges no commissions on option trades. That's just extra gravy in my bank right there. So I do this in other accounts. This is not all the money I'm making doing the same kind of process. Now, all right, how do you find the stocks? What do you do? So I'm using kind of the wheel strategy as the trading strategy. But I'm combining that with my powerful technical analysis of the market roadmap line, the market roadmap line, market roadmap bounces, measured bounces, pulling these together, finding my highest conviction trades. But then I also have to look for premium, specifically weekly premium, has to be juicy. That's why you'll see some, when we look at the trades in here, some of these are short term, just around earnings, like UAL. Boom shakalaka. That was an earnings trade. This one, I rolled that one into the $700 up here. Rocket Lab. Merck is one I've still got. Delta was a earnings play. Some other ones in here, like Nike was an earnings play. Lennar was an earnings play. So when there's earnings plays come up, they got juicy premium. The chart support's going higher. I've been picking these and playing them with selling short puts. Now, number one, the first rule of doing this, you have to be willing to buy those shares. All right. I have not done a single one of these that I wasn't willing to buy the shares and hold them for a while. Now, IWM puts, that was the short put portion of that put spread I have on for protection. The other protection trade down here, somewhere on VIX, took a loss. Bought VIX protection just in case we had a downturn. We didn't have a downturn. Lost a little chunk. No big deal. Smart to play protection. You got to have a small amount of money at risk for protection to protect your bigger chunk of money. If you don't know how to do that, keep listening. Make sure you subscribe. I talk about it quite often. Yeah, Tesla just happened to have it open. Wednesday. Earnings after the close. So I'll probably talk about the Tesla earnings curse, if you want to call it a curse, on Wednesday. Probably do that on the Wednesday show. So market's open, rocking and rolling. And here we go. S&P still grinding toward the target. Right there. That's the target, baby. So I created a new market dashboard. And I didn't tell you what level Harnett's watching. What it is. It's this right here. No, not that one. Sorry. This one right here. Move. So specifically in his report, Harnett talked about big money trades bonds, especially big money that's bearish. Big money bearish trades trading bonds. This level right here, specifically, he mentioned in his report, if move, and this is Bank of America's bond market volatility index, if move goes above 100, it's game on for a bigger correction. And we see that happen back here in April. Look what happened in 22. Because we broke above 100 here. And it went all the way up here, even though the market bottomed right back here. Trying to avoid a sneeze here. Sorry. There we go. I knew it was coming. I could feel it. You know, you feel that little tickle. So this is an interesting one. I think. Keep an eye on. I put that alert on here. We're looking back 2020. Big market correction, big spike. Come on back here. 2007. Big market correction, big spike. So this is MOVE, Bank of America's U.S. bond market option volatility estimate index. If you've never seen this before, it's an interesting one. and for whatever reason, it didn't stick on that chart right there. Now I created this market dashboard. This is another interesting one right here. Anybody that's been following me for a couple of years knows price to sales is my favorite measure of a company's financials. If I'm watching anything, I'm watching price to sales. Price to earnings, numbers are all made up. Earnings, numbers are all made up. Can't fake sales, price to sales. We are at an all-time high for all of the S&P 500. Price to sales ratio. That's another red flag right there. Another red flag. S5TW hanging out near the, we've already rolled back down. Stock's above their 20-day. S5TH starting to roll back down. I mean S5FI, excuse me, S5TH rolling back down a little bit. Hovering. Everything just kind of chilling here. Now, ones I don't usually show off, I don't have the lines drawn. NDTW. We switch this back to candles, so back to normal. Hanging out. 60. That's NASDAQ 100 stocks above their 20-day. We spiked up. 20's down here. NDFI ran pretty hot. May, June, July. Now we're pulling back off of that. NDTH. Not quite tagged the top. Russell has this also. I don't usually bring up these at all. Russell just chopping around in here, but we did top out back here in May. Lower high, lower high. R2FI, Russell above their 50. We topped out back here too. R2TH, not been able to get through 50. Another one I like to watch, RSP. First move down. So there's potential here to take RSP up here. Hit the target. Can we do that? Or is this a lower high, first move down, second move down situation? Absolutely beautiful correction. So I built a new market dashboard watch list right there. Be careful. It's just a dashboard. All right, I may remove these off this one at this point. It's getting a little long in the tooth on that list. So ES overnight action since the reopen, somewhat bullish. And if we can break on higher than that high we had right there overnight, cruising. Came up shy of the target right there on Friday. NASDAQ. Why I look at the futures? Because it provides me with a little bit more clarity on the day. See, S&P cash just opened up. Doesn't really provide me any clarity about what happened overnight. So I look at the futures, just kind of get the gauge for what's going on. NASDAQ might be able to hold it higher low, push on higher. Got that bigger 23.4 target on higher just a little bit. Russell. That's a lower high there. Setting up for the bigger potential downside if you don't have any portfolio protection. Out of the three indexes, Russell is currently the most bearish. When we look at the daily charts, things could get really spicy really quick. That's why there's a giant pepper on here. We've broken through this kind of uptrend thing. Uptrend of lows. Keep poking on it. Trend lines, the weakest form of technical analysis, but if we make a meaningful retrace to the roadmap line, and that doesn't hold, bigger downside, storm clouds showing up here. IWM, the way I'm playing this, and as you can see, it has that ABC, absolutely beautiful correction type potential. Now, I'm out to September. I had bought a put spread, long 180, short 150. I closed those out. They kind of offset the cost of this. This is still underwater. If you don't have any, maybe pick it up. You could maybe even come up a 200 at this point. Just been grinding. Now, September might be short on time at this point. You just keep pushing this out, pushing this out, pushing this out. September's not far away. Maybe you want to be out here to January for a bigger potential downside. I think we'll get something before then, but I may run out of time before it really prints big money. CL. Not really showing very much strength here. This support zone. That support zone is the bottom from back here in 2023. Before I talk too much more trades, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. Just because I predict it doesn't mean it's going to come true. And hopefully this presentation here is informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any stock, option, bonds, forex, futures, crypto, treasuries. Don't trade them. You might lose money. And if you need somebody to tell you what to do, hire and consult a financial advisor. It's not what I do. I don't even pretend that I'm one on YouTube. Gold, baby. That gold rush trade. Time to book it out. Time to book it out. May not have made 50%, but it's time to book it. Bitcoin just grinding. And maybe I should switch it over. Maybe I should switch these over to indexes. Maybe. Thinking about it. Anyway. So we have this correction. Absolutely beautiful correction. Move up. That actually, the only problem here, that first move up looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that makes it a diagonal. Say, well, maybe in extreme markets, not. I don't like to push the rules, Elliott wave. All right. We've got this move up. We've got this correction now. We did another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. 3 up. And a little baby 5 down. Not very proportional. Another ABC correction. Higher low. First move up, retrace. Fair potential in here. If this next one plays out, or if this, if this potential plays out, we could see this popping to 125. Retrace. Maybe come back like this. And go on the next move. Potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I kind of like it. We'll see. Staying long Bitcoin for now. The other problem here, though, before I move on, lower highs. Oh, lower highs, higher lows. Not my favorite pattern. It's unreliable. Breakout, breakdown. Not sure. Adds a little bit of unsureness to it. So index, ATH. This is rocking and rolling, getting back, coming back quickly. Now, be careful. That could triple top. I'm just warning. Like the proportions, first move, second move. Be careful. Be careful. Talking about a first move, second move, third move, puts it right there. Right there. And that could be corrective. We've only made 1, 2, 3. Could be a triple top. NKD. Just grinding in here. I'd love to see it break out, but all the things Harnett said have me concerned that maybe this breaks down and does a bigger correction here. Now we could get the blow off top scenario where everything gets euphoric and we go up to a irrationally higher high. Dollar probably would do best with a 618 retrace and then a push higher into that roadmap line around 101. It would be the best. It may just take off. Sorry for the siren. Can't control emergencies. Apple actually pushing through the roadmap line a little bit. 618 resistance, just a little higher. Right there at 225. Watch for that to reject. Storm clouds are coming. Storm clouds are coming. Amazon still holding on to this potential. Google still holding on to this potential, even though we're pushing up into the next resistance. Gap down zone. All the way up to the high. Be careful. People got trapped. Might trigger a sell. A, B, C. Meta. Same situation. Even though we're rallying back up. Could double top it. Be careful. Microsoft already did the big correction back here. The last year it did it. Now we're pushing on up. I need to turn back on log mode. We're grinding that 508 target. Now, if we get some bigger pullback in the market, we may see this come back, retest the breakouts, hold support, push on higher for the final go. 565. Now we're not talking about like short term. Bank of America correction is not short term. We may see a short term pullback and then push everything to extremes before we really roll. It's just the storm clouds, like the perfect storm situation lining up. What's the problem? I mean, I've identified several risks in the market. What's the problem that's going to unfold? There's quite a few risks. Might talk about Japanese rice in an upcoming video. How that could cause the market to crash. So Nvidia pushing on up 177, possibly 212 if things get a little crazy, but I would expect this to top out here, retrace similar to Microsoft before we go on up. Tesla. Now we've got the big picture, move down off that high, came up to resistance, potential, big potential sitting out here. Smaller time frame, pulled back, retraced, hit support, pulled back, came shy, hit the target, pulled back again, lower high, lower high, lower high. You know, this is the high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Series of lower highs. Coming up, as I mentioned, if we rally into earnings, coming up Wednesday, the reaction may be negative based on Tesla history. If we had dropped into earnings, we might have set up a pop, but I think rallying into earnings sets us up for potential drop. There's actually no like statistical significance. I just got filled on the gold trade, 50% profit. So there you go. Cha-ching. Netflix, watch for the drop to continue. Now it could just be the 4-hour roadmap line. Could just be smaller time frame. Could find support right here. And bounce and go up for another extension. Bigger picture, upside 1500, 1600. We could do it. This is set up if we get it. Look, the levels come in here. 14, 15. Now, if it doesn't hold in this 1200, 1170 area, daily roadmap line, very real possibility. Come on down, back to 1,000. Now, gainers. I go hunt for opportunities in the market. We get things moving up $2 or more. We get things moving down $2 or more. And I hunt for opportunities. So we saw ETHU pushing on higher. Golly. I'm going to sell out my position on that, I think. I don't like that triple top situation for a leveraged ETF. DPZ was popping. Now we're dropping pretty hard. This is bearish. In case you haven't seen my chart on this before. Absolutely beautiful correction. I need to turn that magnet off because it's being stupid. First move down. Second move down. Potential. ETHT. Rocking and rolling. GEV. 638 next upside. Coin. Awesome, Kathy. Glad it worked for us. Like I said, I was not highly confident in that one, but worked out. Last minute Hail Mary. Coinbase tagged that 445 target. We could see a pullback. It can just keep ripping and go on up to the 625 target. But we satisfied this pullback that started back here in December of 24 to the low around April. Now we have come back up and hit the upside target that I would have expected. Watch for some reaction there. If we go on up to the all-time high extension, 625. SLO Ultra on Solana. There you go. Somebody was asking me about Solana ETFs leveraged. There you go. If you think it's ripping. MSTR. Coming back down potential. If we can hold the breakouts, move on higher. Same pattern, all time frames. Now, we didn't hit the roadmap line on this retrace back here. That pullback. Can't tell which one was it. That was the lowest one. We've hit, look at that. We hit that. That was the pullback. That was the extension. Retrace. Retest the breakout. If we can hold it. On up. Higher levels. 493. 230. 532. Possible push on out to 600. XYZ. Block. Ooh, nice little push higher. Be careful though. Fill in the gap. If we reject off that gap fill, watch out for that downside. A-Lab. Potential A, B, C. But also potential, if we can get through this gap down, 173 on the upside. HSDT, garbage. Reverse split, complete garbage. Don't touch that. EETH, another pro shares Ethereum. XYZG. Oh my gosh. They have 2x on. Wow. All right, so 2x on XYZ. Square ripping, baby. That's a nice pop today. ETU. I love it. I love how they got these 2x's on almost everything these days. Another Ethereum ETF. GCTK. Which one's the best one to trade? The one you watch. I'd watch liquidity and stuff like that. The ones that have higher volume, higher liquidity, and weekly options that are actually liquid, those tend to be the better performing ones. But not always. Sometimes they outperform on the downside too because of the liquidity. This, another complete dumpster fire. Reverse split, complete piece of garbage. Don't trade that stuff. QBTX, QBTS, QBTS. And back up to the top. Irrational moves. LEU. There you go. Keep on going. ETHV. VanEx Ethereum. Coming back up. Ooh, about to break higher. Can we do it? Just be careful. Resistance at 65. 3x on Korea. South Korea. It's been grinding as we got back into this box. Maybe we can push this back up to the top of the box at 105, but not one I particularly feel strongly about. XXRP. Go, baby, go. GLD. Still a lower high. Watch out for the bigger retrace. UXRP, another Ultra XRP, SOLT. Lee, down, nice potential. High, there's the low, 26, 29. XRPT. I think I bought this one. Straight up. Straight up. I just bought a couple shares just to see. XRP. Let's see, is there an index XRP? No. Coinbase. So we're coming up on the target. 373, possibly up to 410. Be careful. If you're in leverage, you might want to consider what happens at these levels. ALB, pushing through. Done that before. We need to move up, retrace, even make a higher high would be great. Then the last major high. Retrace, hold support, to build a potential to go higher. Dollar Tree, it's on my bullish list. Big potential bounce. Potential go higher. GDXU, grinding, SBET. I bought a couple shares of this just to see. I got them at 34, so you can get them cheaper than me at this point. If we play out this ABC correction in the bigger picture downturn. I mean, look at this. Look at this crazy thing. That is a downtrend. Doesn't matter what they're doing now. Crazy can get really crazy. Move up to 500 from 33 and then still end up down here in the dumpster. I bought 2 shares, literally 2 shares, 70, basically 70 bucks. I might lose my 70 bucks and it turns into $2. PSIX. Hitting targets. Watch for the retrace. Time to book it. ASTX. 2x on ASTS. ASTS has been rocking, baby. It's almost like Rocket Lab right there. Beautiful. Watch out for the retrace, though. That's... Was anybody on the show with me last week when I said it could go to 61? I was on the profit panel last week with Jack Carter. We used this stock as an example of how to do the turbo wheel. I call it the turbo wheel. I use the wheel strategy, but I apply my market roadmap stuff on it, and I call it the turbo wheel when I do all that. And, well, what helped me get in this one, too. I got put the shares here, wrote it up, booked it out, 41. Even though it was at 50, no big deal. I'm not crying. That's a heck of a profit right there. Heck of a profit. Booked it out. Boom. Boom shakalaka. These are interesting numbers too. They have these symbols. Rocket Lab. Done more trades on Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab. $12,000 profits. Biggest losers. These were from way back when. EWZ was coming out of COVID. Rocket Lab shrinking everything. Delta, my second biggest trade, followed by DJT, DocU, UAL, Celsius, UAL. I traded Celsius heavier in some other accounts, so. Anyway. Boom. Off Rocket Lab. Why? Not trading it till we get another pullback. I may or may not ever trade it. Like, this is an extreme move, and it completes 5 up. It's very, very rough on the first bit here. Can this keep going? Sure, it could keep going. I mean, we could be up at 100, but I want some sort of pullback. If we pull back into this area, consider picking it up. ASTS played out for now. Be careful. Without a pullback, I would be very, very careful messing with that one. Connell, remember, this may only be good for 100. It's lagging. Coinbase broken out, but this one, remember I said about those leverage with high volume and lots of options, that sometimes they outperform to the downside and then they don't perform on the upside. We see that quite a bit on NVIDIA also. DYNX, and not touching it. Rainier Holdings, potential to going up to 65. FUTU. Nice. DFDV, DeFi development. Now this, be careful. Giant spike, chopping in here. Breaks down. That could be the bubble pattern. SBET could be the bubble pattern. This could chop around in here and come right back down. Roadmap line on the weekly was resistance before. Be resistance again. Dun, 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 dun. Fidelity Ethereum moving on up. Watch for that resistance. Got the low, the high, the retrace. Got resistance from 44 to 53 on that one. Co-op targets. Be careful. That's just a constant grind higher. I would want a pullback. Like, look how reliable the pullbacks have been. I'm not just gonna buy because then you get stuck in a pullback. Shiny, 3x leverage on gold. Nice little pop, much lower high. Watch for the return of the roadmap line here. ETH, QETH, all the same stuff. Try Thomson Reuters. That showed up on some list of mine last week. So, first move up, retrace. We're hitting the 1618. Very classic move would be to retrace back to here before we push it on up to there. Circle. Be careful. Very bubble pattern. This, when I say bubble pattern, this is what I'm talking about. This right here, euphoria. We're all geniuses. You hear people talking about it. Everybody's talking about these. People that never even talk crypto are talking to me about crypto. People that told me crypto is the biggest, like, they're never going to trade crypto. Start trading crypto. Be careful. It's hard to say that we're not in the same bubble pattern on crypto. Circle, US, you know. You can say that these... Last week was Crypto Week in Congress. They passed 1 out of the 3 bills that they had on the table. And I don't necessarily think it was very bullish for crypto in general. And I don't know that it was very bullish for stablecoins. It did provide some regulatory framework for them, but hype may be done. Watch out. chop around in here, break down, come back down to reality. J-Nug, chop for that to come back to the roadmap line. Core weave, it's coming back. Watch for this to retrace all the way back down to the 60s. Net, hitting upside, 212, next upside, ALV. Watch for that to retrace the roadmap line. Nugget, retrace the roadmap line. ETHE, same Ethereum thing. Might be able to get up into this 37. You just grab the 3-point tool, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. There's your 36 to 44 target. Remax, Fennec, Rare Earth, Strategic Metals. Actually, yeah, that looks like it's turning a corner here. 3-point tool, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. If this thing starts ripping, you come all the way up to 400 on that one. Yep. But the 63.65 is SPX. Be very careful here. 63.65 is SPX. The ES is like 63.80 something. That high, that low. And 63.80, basically. We're getting close. Less than 20. Man, the list is pretty long today. TPST, watch for this to break out. Regional banks doing all right. Pop up in here. NUE. Can we reverse it? That's a big question. At 618 resistance, 154. We get through that, 227 on the upside. Decliners, sometimes there's better opportunities here. LNG, coming back to the roadmap line. Failure to push through. Look at that, rejected the gap. Like I talk about these gaps. That's exactly what we did. We rejected the gap. People were stuck. Just want to get the fudge back out. It's done it once, twice, 3, 4 times right there. 2, 3, 4. We can build the energy, pop through. 268, 279 upside targets. Rocket Lab, 2x. Man. And that's more expensive than actual Rocket Lab, but you get 2x leverage on it, just holding shares. BRKR, Burker, man, this thing looks like it's flushing down the toilet. Jump up to a weekly chart. Yeah, bigger retrace could be in store here. Let's see what we did. First move up, retrace. Oh, this is bullish. So we want this to hold above here. Find support and turn higher. Already at a 236. Yeah, this would be okay. So support zone, the real support zone, it's in it right here. Don't really want to see it break below 29. If you were inclined to try to sell some puts or something on this, 29 would be a support, and then upside target. This is where things get crazy. Final move potential for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this could last a while. Right up in here, 200. Holy moly. 170. That would be a massive Massive, massive move. Now it can pull back on down just a little bit here. Golly. I've got the... So I got options. And just monthlies. Dang. That was a nice one, though. I'm not playing stuff that doesn't have weeklies. All right. FLUT, Flutter Entertainment. Probably got to come up to 318. Boil in the garbage can. Natural gas pulling back pretty good. All right. Stuff is set up for potential entry today with the targets. I don't like the downtrend here, but it's almost to the target. Low price stuff. Caution. Compass. Pathway. American Depository Shares. And that's, again, a downtrend. I don't care for those downtrending stocks. 5 and low price stuff, also caution. DTE. Here's the high, there's the low. Upside potential to 143. And this already in it from back here. Did a smaller bounce with a smaller potential profit, but 143. GL. There's the high, there's the low. Already in it from back here. Potential pop to 137. Real. Made a smaller, even smaller bounce here. This high, this low. Looking for $6. Low price stuff. SRE. Yeah, it actually traded this small bounce right here. Target right there at 80. And XEL. Here's the high, here's the low. Pop on through. 73 targets. There you go. Those are all potentials. Be careful out there. Probably not going to take any of those from me. None of them particularly spoke to me. It's like huge opportunity. So as we've talked about, and as we brief, expectation for the day. Rally on Wayne. Rally on Garth. Target right up there. 63, 65. Then we see what happens. Can it pop higher? Sure. Next target up, 65, 62. But that'd be a key level to pull back from. And then come back, test support. We haven't really tested support since we've been on this rally. Just been up, up, up. I mean, that's the only little baby retrace we got right there. Any duration. So be careful out there. Have a great day. We'll see you again soon. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Remember, Termar Trading Lab, 1 o'clock. Roundtable, meet up, open mics, open cameras, mute yourself. Have a great day.